ready. I'll be sending within 1 or 2 days. There's
Oh,
some
no,
editorial.
that's okay. I thought because I got the unit 7, so I couldn't see the unit 6. So I thought God knows where that has gone.
No. I'll inform when I send, because 8 also ready, 6 also ready. Just I'll send very soon.
Yes, sir. No problems. No problems. He's still reading through all the other ones.
Yes, sir. You have lots of work to do now.
I know.
Assignment.
I haven't even started one of my assignments.
I'm very happy. All of you are so cooperative and so much. Some of you have already submitted assignment also. So that is a very good thing. So let's start now.
Yes, sir.
Actually, there was some rain in this area. Because of that, power cut. There was power cut for around 1 hour. Can you see now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. We can see that first slide.
Okay. So let me start today. This is a very important area also. National policies and international migration. We know that there are many policies which govern entire world, bilaterally also, multilateral also, and there are some conventions and all this that binds many countries also. But today we'll be talking about how a specific country will have policies. I'll give some global overview, and then I'll be talking specifically 2 examples from sending countries and 2 examples from receiving countries. So in this, as you all know, each country, they have their own unique migration patterns. India, if we talk, we have colonial. Even before that, if you see, we had trade migration, religious migration, and all this. So if you take any country, they have their own migration pattern, and policies are prepared on that basis. Like when we had colonial legacy, there are so many policies, that time, like contractual labor and free passage and all this. Even after India got independence, we had so many other, I'll talk in that case when India case will come. So also many countries, like if you take Germany, they had continuous conflict. So their migration policies are shaped based on the countries who are hostile to them, who are friendly to them. Same with US also. They have policies for Chinese, policies for Cuba, policies for Mexico, and Indians high spirit policy, this, that, so many, all depends upon not just one factor, but several factors. It can be a legacy, ideology, conflict, trade and commerce, and simple employment related. So this is a very complex area, socio-economic, political areas of engagement, and this is not today when we talk about, you all must be hearing news about Rishi Sunak, then Kamala Harris, then Priti Patel and all this. For us, it is a pride movement because Indians are flourishing in advanced countries, but there are so many other undercurrents which create lots of immigrant phobia. When Trump administration was there, people across all the countries, Mexicans, Indians, many South Asians also, they were targeted because there was an apprehension that they will take the, they'll become majority over, maybe 1 decade or 2 decades, and that can change the fate of white, supremacy. That is what you can see today if you see the political leaders in Canada and this, but that is how the world moves actually. And migration is a very natural thing. And these are all, if you see the policy, they are all response to various events, various circumstances, various socio-economic, demands. So that also I'll talk when country-specific examples are coming. Here I'll be talking about receiving countries, especially selective policies of USA. GCC country, I'll not give example because USA, German have given, but you all know GCC also, they have their own way to receive, they have restriction of citizenship. You cannot be citizen in GCC.
Welfare tilani tatlo kati to welfare tilani lava.
Yes, 1 minute.
Timailamo.
1 minute. Yes,
Anatepo kanan saydona tunzat chunralni setigal tepo kan saydona.
Are you asking something? Hello? Or just citizen? Okay, I'm muting. Okay. So there are so many other factors which actually impact the policy, and policies are formulated. Gulf, especially, there are policies to give preference to their own people in many areas because unemployment is increasing. We all know Nitakat and all this. There are policies which give preference to their own people. So Schengen country also, many countries like India, many Asian countries are also Schengen countries, which we call global South, and we have different types of problem, and that also when we have so much migration. India has 17 million migrant stock, and Philippines has around 6 million. China has around 10 million. So these countries have lots of huge migration stock. So they have to create policies how to engage their own people in a very productive manner. So so I'll be talking about two countries from receiving countries and two sending countries. If you see this chart, you can see USA is one of the #1 destination country. 50.6 million people are now immigrant staying in USA. You can just imagine how big the size, and almost same number if you put all the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and all, they will also come equally same number, but there are so many countries, so put together they will also come even more than USA. So that is also another big destination within the Asian countries. Then Germany comes 15.8 million, which house to that much, and it is growing actually. Now German, 2019 they opened skill visas and all, student visa, and number is growing. Saudi Arabia, then Russia also. Within Russia, you find the people who are migrating to Russia, they are from the neighboring countries mostly. Then UK, around 9.4 million. So these are all top destination countries, 5 top destination countries. And top sending countries are India, which are 17, almost 18 million, Mexico, Russia, China, Syria. So these countries have huge migrant population staying abroad. So they have their own challenges to deal with, because when people migrate, 2 days back we had a meeting with European in their, gender migration. There are so many issues related to marriage, legal issues and all. So these are all pertaining to many sending countries also. So these are all growing number happening. People are getting cheated also, and all this. We need to think how to frame policies with regards to various segment of people, student, you can say female migrants, you can say skilled migrant, all this. USA has a long history. I'll not cover everything, but I'll go to few area which created some, it has a long history in the 1790s onwards, and it opened up, closed the border, then opened up, then because there are so many conflicts happening with USA, the border issues and so many things. And since USA is one of the developed countries, since last 1 century, you can find lots of migrants are going to USA. So there are restrictions also, and there are selective policies to attract selective group of migrants. For example, H1b Visa and all this. So these are all, I will not read because it will consume lots of time. But USA, if you see, they are specific for specific population. For Chinese exclusion, there is a in Act 1943 where China and USA, they have some policies restricting Chinese. Then Mexican repatriation. Mexico is one of the number one population migrant in USA, and you can find almost everyday basis conflicts are happening. Even few days back, you find a mass shooting happened in a school where Mexicans were there. So Mexicans are also high in number, and they are also targeted. Chinese also time to time, they are restricted. Then you find so many other like Muslim ban. Then with regards to ideology, you can find Cuba population were also welcomed, those who are anti-communist, and then there were so many things. Chinese students were also very much welcome when there was a protest in Tiananmen Square against the Communist Party. So Democrats are invited. So there was an ideological basis of policies. So you can find so many visas in USA. The maximum number of visas pertaining to each country, each segment of people, and all this. There are banned countries also who have, they have banned, like North Korea. So there are various visas, but I'll be focusing on H1b visa, one which is very much linked to our own country. This is a non-migrant visa is available to people who wish to perform services in specialty occupation. H1b visa, it is very highly regarded visa because all the skilled migrants go with this visa. And India has almost 70% of this quota. India is having 70%, around 60 to 70%. If you see this is the number. It is mainly pertaining to high speed. India has maximum number, then comes to China. Almost 1/6 of India's quota is Chinese, then Canada and other countries. So these are all high speed. So the number is also growing, you can see. No, it is sometimes growing, sometimes maybe 2022, 2020 it was little more than 2021, maybe because of COVID and all this. So these are all you can see up and down. Again, if you see latest students number are increasing in USA. So there are various policies to restrict, to select the migration flow to USA. Then come to Germany. You all know Germany also bordering to many areas which were very conflict throughout the history. They had a Berlin Wall which was demolished to bring together East and West Germany. But before that, it was lots of conflict with NATO and Soviet Union, and Germany was in between, and Hitler came up and all this. So all the stories linked to creating, migration flow, some kinds of migration, they stopped. That wall itself was made for, stopping the migration. So like that, German actually has two types. If you see, divide the immigration, pre-unification. There is one where, many Germany, they are divided in East and other country, and there was conflict. So there was restriction also. So from East to West, and but over time things have changed. Okay. So Germany also had shortage of labor. So in between they had great guest workers program, and invited many other countries worker. In 1950s and 1960s, the West German government signed bilateral recruitment agreement with Italy, Greece, Turkey, Morocco, Portugal, Tunisia, Yugoslavia, and many people, they came from these countries to Germany. So then from 1990s onwards, you can see lots of refugees are going to Germany. You can find even Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan refugees, and lots of refugees are resettled in Germany, and somehow it was little open compared to other European countries, and lot many are there, and the demography is changing. So that is another big apprehension for them, because German, there is a language problem, there are cultural issues, and so many other issues, and that's why they're little apprehensive. So they have specific, immigration regulation for EU citizens, which are little more welcome compared to non-EU citizens. And recently in 2019, they have also have similar, uh, policy for high-skilled migration, because you must be aware about many European countries, they are struggling with their, industry. They're not able to cope up with the economic progress, so they have to bring skill migration. So German had a skill migration immigration act in 2019, and also they have a very huge scholarship network called DAG funds, which actually sponsor more than, you can say, um, more than 11 lakh students, both German and international students. And there are also asylum seekers and refugees. So various national policy is regulating all kinds of immigration flow to Germany. So we can see this Germany Berlin Wall, which actually broken in this picture, and that unification happened. Okay, you see this map, the number has grown from 2014 onwards to 2018, which partly because of all refugee population from Syria, Afghanistan, Iran, and all these countries. And you see the number of refugees, number of other migrants going to Germany for asylum seeking. Pakistan is one of the leading countries, then Eritrea, Nigeria, Iran, Afghanistan, Somalia, Iraq, and Syria. And the number you see, it is almost, very fast growing, from 65,000 to almost 3 lakh. It has reached in 2018. Then I'll be talking, you see, when you compare to receiving countries, they have different problem, because they are very much concerned how to manage the inflow, because obviously if you take so many people and 90%, 80% may not return, it will be a huge burden on your every system, education, healthcare, even future challenges, terrorism, and all this will come. So that's why they're very much apprehensive, and the resources are limited in some countries like the UK and all, where the education system cannot cope up with the healthcare, cannot cope up with other resources also, land, housing, so many things. So they have to restrict, and there are other problem also, as I mentioned, political and terrorism. So these all combined together shape the national policies of these countries. Then I'll be talking about two very important countries which have, you know, they have experienced migration for centuries and very unique also some cases. One is Philippines, other is India. Philippines is unique because, this is a highly globalized migrant. Philippines people are also very much involved in caregiving and house, all this like occupation like nursing and all this. India also is doing well in that sector. But Philippines being a country with almost 2,000 islands, they have different management to cater to the need of a globalized workforce. You can see this almost 7,640 islands spread across about 2,000 islands you can find people are inhabiting, and around population around 11.3 crores. Okay, out of that you can see almost 6 million are migrants, which is a very high proportion. You can see India having almost 10 times, 12 times population, and if you compare percentage, Philippines will have far better, international migration. We have 17.3 and 17.9, almost 18 million, and they have one-third international migration, having population of almost 1/12. Okay, so it is proportionately very high international migration coming from Philippines, and that's why I chosen this country to see how they are managing. And some of the migration policies of Philippines are very advanced because their migration, their economy depend upon this migrant population. If you see the number also in one year, you see this many migrants, they're going abroad, 2.18 million, and their overseas Filipino workers and contract worker are 2.11, put together almost 4.5 millions Philippines workers, overseas workers in 2019, and almost 3 millions in 2020. So these are all coming, going, and the flow, both sides coming, going, and all this is a huge chain of international migration, and very, very important to see how they are managing that, because Philippines has very good, compared to even Kerala also. Even Kerala policies are many times they follow Philippines model. So Philippines, if you see, Migrant Workers and Overseas Philippines Act 1995 is a very landmark policy governing migrant, that is also popularly known as Migrant Workers Law, in order to institute the policies of overseas employment and establish a higher standard of protection and promotion of the welfare of migrant workers and their families and overseas Filipinos in distress. We talk about any issue, human rights, marriage. Acha, Harjinder, you raised the hand, please.
Sir, the feminization of Philippine migration is also an important part.
Yes, I'll talk that in Philippines and our case. Okay.
Because most of the care workers of Philippines, the nurses are there in different countries, and I think this is the specialization of Philippines migrants Healthcare
That-
workers.
That is what very important to learn from them, which not just when female migrant go, they have a different channel also, different challenges also, and different infrastructure. In India, we restrict age, we restrict many things. They lose their working, age, and they sometimes, are not demanded so much as Philippines worker. So I'll be talking that also, but you see, when you talk about international migration, safety, human rights, protecting measures are very important. Okay, and these are very
Yes, sir.
well advanced in Philippines. Okay, and this migrant workers law, which actually talks about the dignity of Filipino migrant workers as citizens, and migrant workers should be provided with sufficient and relevant social, economic, and legal services. If you see, Philippines has both within country, outside country legal services, financial services, and social network, very strong social network, because 6-7 million people, many are coming, going, they're very, close contact. Migrants have very close contact compared to even diaspora. They are becoming diaspora, but mostly they are directly in touch, they come and go. So that's why they need lots of support in every area. So all this area Philippines is doing. The state doesn't promote overseas work as an instrument to sustain economic growth. There is equality of individual regardless of gender before the law and in the nation building. There is a need to institute an effective mechanism to ensure protection of overseas Philippines. So they have all this facility. I'll talk while giving example, but if you see, Philippines also they have been participating within the country. If you see Philippines, politics, they are very much strong. Philippines people. Okay, so these are some of the major programs enacted by Philippines government. For example, we also have pre-departure and many other, but if you see the kind of service they give, it's very advanced. Travel advisory, information dissemination, and they have agency for that, like Philippines Overseas Employment Administration. They take care of all these things, and the main features is issuance of travel advisories or dissemination of information on labor and employment condition and migration realities and other facts to adequately prepare would-be migrant workers into making informed and intelligent decisions about overseas employment. So one of the major problems in India we face is trafficking, like exploitation of passport confiscation and so many other challenges. So these area in Philippines, they actually orient while in the education itself, in the educational institution itself, they orient because their workforce is very international. If you see the syllabus also, I read from some document that in the syllabus of Philippines intermediate level education, they have integrated this kind of supply and demand, opportunity abroad and all this. So they orient from the school itself, school and colleges. So then there are migrant workers loan guarantee fund that I'll talk in my next slide, how much they give, because lots of Philippines workers, they're coming back. That is a big challenge which India is facing now. During COVID time also we faced, and we'll be facing more because Gulf migrants who have gone in 1970s and 80s, they're all returning now. And in next 5, 6, 7 years, you'll find huge number will return because the restrictions are increasing. Citizenship is a big problem in many countries. So many will return, and we have to learn from Philippines how to manage these return migrants, rehabilitate them, integrate them, with the local society and economy. This is one of the overseas workers welfare administration in coordination with the government financial institution. They have given this integration, like it's a kind of rehabilitation and integration in the best possible way. There are financial support up to 15 lakhs, for a group and 5 lakh for individual, with their Indian currency to translate. And these are for working class people with very low interest they give, so that they can have their own business and sustain their livelihood. Then we have migrant workers and other overseas Philippines resource center, which actually facilitate in each embassy and almost 24 hours service in all this legal service, welfare assistance, information program to promote social integration. All these are available for Philippines workers. Then share government information for migration. There are so many agencies you can see: Department of Foreign Affairs, Commission on Philippines Overseas, Department of Labor and Employment, then Department of Tourism, ministry, cutting across ministry and department. You can see the coordination, so that people should be very well managed their migration experience, getting job and everything. And you can see tracking system also. So various segment of occupation, destination country, and tourist, and all kinds of there are various way to segment and see how to address those. So various department they have, and from tourist to working class people, they have been addressing those. And then there is emergency repatriation fund. Like in India, we have emergency handling. When COVID came, we had this Vande Bharat mission. Then during Iraq war, we had their airlifting also. That is also big evacuation. During Afghanistan, we have seen India did, but Philippines institutionalized. All the time there will be something, so very much institutionalized instead of waiting for emergency. So pre-replacement and monitoring center. This is another area to avoid any kind of exploitation in the foreign. In India also, many people are going with false promises to other countries, and once they land there, they're getting exploited. They don't get the work they're promised, neither they get the salary they're promised. So Philippines, they have enacted a pre-replacement monitoring center. So this create so many kind of their local employment, their skill level, potential, and also it integrate with their own country, home country development. Because once you know who are where, what kind of skill they have, and what kind of financial support they need, you can better integrate them. That is what long back even during India also happened, but it failed in some way. Top 10 program, which with support of UNDP, Abha might be knowing, there was a top 10 program. So that could last, in some country it was succeeded, but in India somehow it didn't succeed. So this was connecting with high-skilled people in different segment of India living abroad, Indian migrants. But somehow it succeeded like in IT sector, but with government intervention it couldn't succeed. But this IT sector was government actually prepared the infrastructure, prepared the condition, but it succeeded in this, not the token program. So then there is technical education and skill development authority, which actually promote skill enhancement, and then legal assistance. Then you have migrant workers scholarship fund. So these are some of the very, very advanced level planning how to manage their migration. Then provision against the illegal recruitment. There is another area which Philippines did very good work. The transfer to the National Labor Relation Commission of the adjudication of cases filed by migrant workers. Immediately, whenever there is a victim, there is a case, they handle it very well, because most cases, what happen, migrant workers, they are not having that resources to fight legal battles, with the employer who are exploiting them. So Philippines has enacted this. They have legal support, system in the host country also and home country also, which continuously they take care of this. And Harjinder might be knowing, Punjab also has now NRI police, department. So they handle all these marriage-related problems, because many people, they go through marriage channel. They go for work, but they go through marriage channel, and sometimes it is very falsely promised, and hundreds, thousands of people are victim of that. So there is a special police cell now in Punjab to handle, but it is happening almost every state. Then there was reform also within, as the migration is happening and more complication is happening. There was reform, and you can read that. I will not go in details. And another area which India can learn from Philippines is remittance. Remittance is very much important, and here Philippines has actually created a fund for investment where remittance can be used within the home countries for better economic development. Earlier they are actually restricting so that their forest reserve will be better, but there was protest, then they could channelize to the home country, to their own area better way. And there was also so many other, I'll talk that, like reintegration, preparedness. Philippines has so many other, reskilling, technological means capacity building program, entrepreneurial development training, all this they given to the return migrants so that they can do better and they can integrate better. Then there are other things like financial literacy, community business counseling, networking with the support institution. All these are very advanced level Philippines is doing. And you can see the kind of loan they give to the return migrants, especially to settle within their country. They can give up to 30 lakh. I was telling 15 lakh, up to 30 lakh they give if you convert to Indian currency for a group, for one individual entrepreneur, and up to 75 lakh they give for group borrowers. So this is a very good amount to actually to settle their own industry, to their own enterprise, and they can actually develop the country better way. So this is the facility they give to their own migrant when they come back home and settle, and with low interest, 7.5 per annum. So these are all major areas where Philippines is actually showing the way how to actually integrate the migrant, how to manage the migration and all this. Then in India also we have so many act, like one Immigration Act in 1983, which regulate overall migration recruitment system and so many other things. Okay, so it regulate the entire international immigration process. So then there are other, actually my power is going, so I'll be very brief, maybe within 5 to 6 minutes. You can listen the UPS sound actually. So I'll be concluding very soon.
Sir, do India have any migration promotion attraction scheme?
we are promoting this Overseas Citizenship Act is also a management, like people who are coming back to India, they can invest like any other person here, okay? They can get, any support, they can, financial, economic, educational, they can study here like NRI, there is no difference between NRI and overseas citizens except property, okay? Agricultural and plantation property. So these are some of the schemes to engage them.
Easy that we are focusing on the people of Indian origin. That sounds very easy. But apart from PIO, do we have any policy to attract the best of the talent from the globe?
No, there are so many areas I'm covering that. One is overseas citizenship, another is Pravasi Bharatiya Bima, and so many coming up now. Very soon we can find other, and Kerala case I'll be also giving example how they are also managing return.
Sadanand sir, what he is asking is, besides Indians, is there a policy for other country people to settle in India as Indians are going and settling outside?
Oh, okay. I'll tell you, there are refugee related, policy. We have hosted a refugee from so many countries, Tibetan, we have, from Bangladesh, Rohingyas, Afghanistan, so many are coming and settling, but they cannot be citizen, but they get some privileges here. I'll talk about them also, but right now I'm talking mostly on Indian migrant going abroad. But this is also important area. I have not thought about that, but there are policy related to from the very beginning of our independence, we have been hosting. And India is one of the largest country hosting, one of the leading country hosting refugees. Okay, you talk about almost all major refugee communities are here, and our country surroundings are all very conflict areas. So many refugees are coming. Okay, and they are settled not just in Delhi, there are many other places. Okay, so there are some privileges, many are getting citizenship, not many are not also getting, like Afghanistan, Tibetans, they are not citizens. So these are all some restrictions, some facilities are there. Then this Pravasi Bharatiya Bima Yojana, this is actually 2006 it enacted, but after that so many kind of reform happened. 2017 that finally it's a scheme which safeguards the interest of Indian immigrants worker falling under immigration check required category, going for overseas employment to ECR countries. Okay, so this is another area. So then ECR, I'll give more example, but my computer is going to stop anytime. Before that, I just want to give the Kerala example.
You can connect with your mobile phone also.
No, actually power is gone. Mobile, I don't know. There is some internet issue also.
Okay.
But I am almost through. We can even the remaining part next class we can discuss. Okay. If there is anything left, next class also I'll be very happy to discuss. Okay. Norka is another area which actually non-resident Kerala that is covering mainly the overseas Kerala people, and this is a very advanced within other states. If you see compared to many other states, Kerala has enacted this policy, and especially to the returning migrants, because Kerala is experiencing return migrants since last 5 to 6 years at least, and it will grow now. And they have same issue like Philippines, where large number of people are returning, and they have also done almost similar. If you see the kind of, but the financial package is very less. Okay, but it is almost similar like Philippines. If you see the kind of support for enterprise building, various schemes for their financial support up to 5 lakhs with the okay they are giving, and all this you can read. There is a site I have given, norcaroots.org. You can see those all details are there. Then Punjab also, as I mentioned, they have Department of NRA Affairs now, and almost they are asking people, especially Punjab NRIs, to adopt villages, to develop their area, and they are giving some financial support, recognitions, and all this, so that they can not only integrate with the home society but also contribute. Okay, so but there are so many challenges actually that I'll discuss more elaborate as we go, because many other units also touch upon this issue. The major problem India has is even the state level also. Recent, many meetings and all of them are saying there is problem with information, data on where migrants are going. We don't know who are the students. There is no specific, record about who are students, who are workers, who are what. All these are creating problem of managing the migration. Okay. Then facilitating and promoting international migration. This is area also very.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Is there any center in Telangana also
For what?
for this migrants? Like in Punjab, we have, and in Kerala also we have Norka. So, is there anything in Telangana also?
Actually, Telangana, I'm not very sure, but I think no other place has other than Kerala. So, but maybe very soon other that may have, because I was browsing.
Yeah, we are demanding from Telangana
Because
to establish a welfare, Gulf Workers Welfare Board like Kerala.
yes,
We visited earlier this Kerala Norka NRI Bhavan for study, sir. Very recently, last year we visited along with our colleagues. We likely to adapt this kind of welfare activities in our Telangana. Earlier, our Chief Minister promised this Kerala or Punjab like welfare schemes or rehabilitation and reintegration policies we would like to set up. They promised, but after 8 years, the government of Telangana didn't do much better for migrant.
actually when you talk about Kerala and Punjab, the NRIs have political clout. They can even, you see the party, Aam Aadmi Party and whichever party comes, they get lots of NRI sponsor, They have a clout and they can determine the policy. Kerala also same thing. I think many other states, when they actually play this political role, then only they can do some impact on policies. I was browsing actually, as Vijay was asking, is there any other state having similar policy? I couldn't find any systematic, approach. Though announcements are there, there are some informal groups, but there is no systematic approach like Kerala. So that has to happen, because now states like UP and Bihar are also they're experiencing huge migration, international migration. So this we have to see in that way how not just Philippines but within the country how we can learn from Peru. So and there is also, as I mentioned, lots of work is required for pre-departure orientation, because pre-departure that will minimize the exploitation, minimize the crimes related to recruitment, and people can safely go and judge properly where to do all this. Then another thing which I want to mention, that integration facilities. This is also very important, because migration returnees are increasing.
Sir, your computer is alarming. So after charging, can you continue the class?
If for all free, I can come back, but this is almost actually end. Okay. So what we can do, Vijaya, we can give some kinds of overview in my next class about this. Okay.
Okay,
And
sir.
I can continue the fresh talk, but I'll give the overview about this. But this is almost over. Then integration facility, as I mentioned, in Philippines and in Kerala, lots of people are returning. We have to see how to make their life better actually, because they may come with better skill, better financial, but they may come with bad health. Maybe sometimes they don't know how to, to spend their money, and skills. They can be useless also in case we don't know how to use their skills, knowledge, and other financial resources. So there is a lot many work we need to do about integrating these migrants. So that is where I thought of talking about GCM objectives, some overview. This has so much, thing about international migration. So I think many of you have done our GCM program. GRFDT organized some GCM certificate course for 2 years almost. Many of you might have, know that there is a course like that. So there also you can learn so many, lectures are available online. Okay. So, okay, 1-2 questions you can take. Before I stop, because it is almost about to stop. Any question? Okay, if there is nothing, let's stop, because
As a part of the migration field, and we all part of the India. So do you feel that India take strategies to attract highly talented people from other countries who are not people of Indian origin? Instead only, not mass, but only.
see, this is possible when the society, political area will be conducive. Many times we are not that receptive. You see lots of political parties are against the migrant. High skilled also, they don't come with just economic package. They come with baggage of culture also. If we people, in India especially, we cannot tolerate people are very liberal way they are moving, and so many. We cannot be like West or America. So their society is accepting because they are open for this multicultural thing, global culture, and all this. Even we need to work in many fronts, not just opening industry and inviting talents. If you go to Gurgaon and many other in Pune, you find some foreign skilled people from other countries also. They are coming and working in top IT industry and all. Aviation industry, hospitality industry, they are very, very less compared to Europe and America. We need to have socio-cultural, political, that platform ready to accept. Otherwise, there will be issue. People will burn the foreign, setting, whatever, their schools, colleges, and anything. So these are all, not so easy. Though there is economic side, we can feel that we can, attract investment, we can attract talent and all. There is a socio-cultural side also. So that is not so easy. Okay, so thank you, and see you next Saturday. And now as we go, we'll have more classes actually. From next Saturday onwards, 2 double classes, triple classes we may have. So,
Thank you very much. And I request that, sir, apart from your lecture, which make the core or the foundation of this program, if we can have the lecture from other diverse sources, like we had last time, then I think this
that
will be truly.
No, that only will have. No, there is no single person can talk 2-3 hours. So we'll have invited lectures. Okay. And various topics, because if you see your units are written by so many other people, so they all will come, and we'll have 2-3 classes on from next Saturday onwards. Okay. So okay, thank you.
Thank you.